Hello, and welcome to the ENVISION webinar on NTDeliver. This webinar will include an overview of the NTDeliver supply chain information system, in particular the country pages, which provide information to track the shipment of donated NTD medicines to countries. My name is Penny Smith, an NTD advisor at USAID Washington, and I'll be facilitating the webinar today. On behalf of USAID and ENVISION, thank you all for joining us. We hope you'll find the webinar useful in your work to control and eliminate NTDs. Let me introduce our speaker and the agenda for today. Ms. Emily Tangala is the head of product at Standard Co., a technology company whose goal is to relieve suffering through technology and data. In her 2 years with Standard Co., she has dedicated a large portion of her time to working with the Neglected Tropical Disease Supply Chain Forum as the day-to-day manager of the NTDeliver Supply Chain Information System. When she's not working on NTDeliver, she's collaborating with her team to build Secure Data Kit, a global health data management tool that enables you to collect, store, and analyze your data. Today, Emily will be talking about the NTDeliver Supply Chain Information System. This system is a database that tracks country requests made to WHO and ITI for donated medicines and combines them with packaging and shipping information from the pharma and shipping companies. All donated NTD medicines, except ivermectin or mectizan, are tracked through this system. That includes albendazole, mebendazole, DEC, praziquantel, and zithromax. Emily will walk us through the various features of NTDeliver, including the option to get weekly updates on purchase orders, making it easier to track those orders. We hope this presentation helps you to monitor the donated medicines your country ordered, which will help with planning and scheduling upcoming MDAs. One caveat we must make is that occasionally delays in shipments happen. NTDeliver can help you track those delays, but not prevent them. We welcome your questions during this presentation, but please keep them to the tool itself, not how to get the drugs faster. For those of you new to webinars, if you look at the top right of your screen, you should see the GoToWebinar toolbar, which provides guidance. You should be hearing the audio through your computer, and if that's not working well, you can call in through the phone by clicking on Phone Call in the audio selection. At any time during the webinar, if you have questions for any of our presenters, please type them into the question box, and we'll do our best to answer them during the Q&A time we've saved at the end of the webinar. We've included the address of the NTDeliver website here. Emily's presentation will show you screenshots, but you can also navigate the page yourself and follow along. At the end of the webinar, please take a couple of minutes to complete a short evaluation. Your feedback is very important to us so that we can make sure we're addressing the topics that are useful to us. To you, excuse me. Finally, if you find this webinar beneficial, you can find slides and recordings of our previous webinars on our website. I also wanted to let
Hi everyone, my name is Emily Tangala. I'm the day-to-day manager of the NTDeliver Supply Chain Information System built by Standard Co., the technical partner of the Neglected Tropical Disease Supply Chain Forum. Today, I'm excited to share with you the NTDeliver country pages, which will provide you with the relevant information regarding medicine donation shipments en route to your countries. Before we discuss the specifics of the country pages, I'd like to first share with you the mission of NTDeliver. NTDeliver centralizes and coordinates information from a variety of sources to better monitor and evaluate the NTD supply chain. NTDeliver has a four-part mission. Reduce fragmentation by storing scattered data in one centralized location. Improve collaboration by allowing all stakeholders, from WHO leadership to local implementing partners, to work collaboratively in a single system. Increase measurement by utilizing key performance indicators to analyze data, allowing donors and shipping logistics providers to identify common bottlenecks to prevent late shipments. And simplify reporting, allowing WHO, donating partners, and shipping logistics providers access to reports that they can use to monitor and share their progress. The second pillar, to improve collaboration, is the reason for our discussion today. WHO, donating partners, and shipping logistics providers have come together and agreed to open up relevant data to all of you so that at any time you can find the information you need regarding donated medicine shipments en route to your countries. I'd like to show you now how you can access all the information you need regarding your donated medicine shipments. We're happy to share this presentation with you for your reference after the webinar. Navigate to www.ntdeliver.com and you'll be greeted with a login page. Because of the NTDeliver's partners' efforts to increase transparency, you do not need to log in to access this information. Underneath the login box, you'll see a prompt that says, "Looking for country information? View country page." Click on that link and you'll be directed to the country page selection page. Next, you simply select the country page you'd like to view from the drop-down. Note that you can navigate directly to this page by visiting www.ntdeliver.com/country. You're now viewing the country page for the country that you selected. In this case, we're looking at Cameroon. The top half of this country page contains 4 main parts. The Subscribe to Country Page button allows you to subscribe to updates regarding shipments en route to that country. We'll dive deeper into this later. There's also a drop-down which allows you to quickly navigate from this country page to another country's page simply by selecting that new country from the drop-down. On the left, you see indicators from the WHO's PCT databank, which is up to date with the latest information made available by WHO. And lastly, a map of the country that you are viewing. As mentioned before, these pages are publicly accessible, so feel free to save this URL and share with your colleagues. We also recommend bookmarking the page of the country or countries that you are most interested in so that you can visit it quickly and easily at any time. The middle of the country page displays a table of all the purchase orders of donated NTD medicines for the country you've selected. There are various ways you can filter and sort through these purchase orders to find exactly what you're looking for. At the top, you can filter the PO list by searching for any combination of year, program, or medicine. If you know the purchase order number you're looking for, you can also search for that specific purchase order. Under those search boxes, you'll see a button called Show Hide Columns. Click this to unveil a list of columns that you can decide to either show or hide in this list. This is helpful as some information may be particularly relevant for you, while other information you may not be interested in at that moment. In addition to the filtering and choosing which columns are in view, you can sort the purchase orders by any column simply by clicking on that column header. Click once to sort ascending and twice for descending. At the bottom left, you'll be able to select how many purchase orders you view per page. This defaults to show 10 purchase orders per page, but you can show as many as 100 if that's helpful. Lastly, in the lower right, you'll see how many pages of purchase orders are available to you. Use the previous and next buttons to flip through each page, or click on the page number to navigate directly to that page. It's worth noting that this purchase order table copies and pastes very nicely into Excel if that's ever a need for you. I would, however, suggest that if anybody requests this information, that you point them directly to this page, as it's updated every 24 hours when new data is sent into NTDeliver. You can view more details for any purchase order simply by clicking on the linked purchase order number. You'll be directed to a new page called the Purchase Order Tracking Report. The Purchase Order Tracking Report contains 3 main sections. General information is displayed at the top, containing things like country, year, quantity, medicine, and program. There's also an on-time late indicator that will show here if the purchase order has not yet been delivered. The green chevron shapes indicate each stage that the purchase order must go through before being considered complete. Click on any stage name to see the data collected during that stage. For example, Purchase order packing contains helpful information like the date the packing list was received, batch numbers, and expiration dates, while purchase order shipping contains all data related to the shipping process. A comment section displays below. Here you can see comments that WHO, donating partners, and shipping logistics providers have made regarding this purchase order. You're also welcome to add your own comments here, but please note that notifications are not triggered when comments are added. It is just for the sole purpose of documenting notes related to the purchase order. It's worth noting again that this page is publicly accessible, so if it's helpful to share this direct link with a colleague, please do. At the beginning of this presentation, I briefly mentioned the ability to subscribe to country page updates. We understand that it can become quite cumbersome to remember to view a tool regularly to seek updates. So we've developed a tool just for you that allows you instead to subscribe to country page updates. In the upper right of each country page, simply click Subscribe to Country Page and you will be directed to a form. Note that you can use this form to subscribe to multiple countries, not just one. Complete this form in full, and you will receive a confirmation email in your inbox detailing what your email subscription includes. If a country you are subscribed to has a shipment that has experienced an update in the past 7 days, you will receive an email notification for that country on the following Monday that details each change. Your subscription can be changed or canceled at any time by clicking the links at the bottom of the email. Before we wrap up this presentation, I want to give a huge thank you to all of the partners who made this tool possible. NTDeliver has been paid for by the Neglected Tropical Disease Supply Chain Forum and supported in various ways by other partners listed here. These organizations have been willing to take major steps towards transparency, making this tool easily accessible to all of you. Because transparency is now a priority, we hope that NTDeliver can provide you with all the information you need about NTD medicine-related shipments en route to your countries. Please save my email and do not hesitate to email me directly with any questions or suggestions related to the NTDeliver country pages. We've enjoyed building this tool for you and hope that you find it helpful. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Emily. That was really helpful. I wonder, first, before I ask any questions, just to remind the folks on the phone, if you have questions, please type them into the question box that should be on the right side of your screen, and we will get to them as soon as we can. And if we can't answer questions today, we can follow them up afterwards when we send out the slide presentation and the recording. So please do ask any questions you have. I'll start right now just asking Emily, if you can kind of show us in real time with the NTDeliver platform how a country, say Cameroon, for example, would look up where their mebendazole shipment is right now if they were waiting and planning their MDA.
Yeah, absolutely. So first, you would go to www.ntdeliver.com. And as mentioned in the presentation, a login is not required to access any of this information. So simply click View Country Page right here. Then there's this drop down, and you'd simply find your country. We'll look for Cameroon. And here we are on the Cameroon country page. So if you scroll down a bit, you see all the shipments that are related to Cameroon. And we can use these search boxes here to find something specific. So I'd like to find a shipment from mebendazole, and I'd like to find one that's going to Cameroon for an MDA in this current year, in 2018. And here we can see the one result. When you click on that purchase order number, you now see a view-only version of the purchase order tracking report. By default, this is going to open up to the current stage. Since this purchase order has already been delivered, we're in the PO delivered stage, and we can see some data related to that stage. But you're also welcome to click around to previous stages by just clicking on these checkboxes. So you can go all the way to the beginning and see when the purchase order was raised, when it was issued and acknowledged, when it was packed, when a go signal, otherwise known as a green light, was requested and approved, and of course relevant shipping data as well.
Great, thank you so much, Emily. That's really helpful. So it doesn't look like we have questions right now, but please do feel free to write them in the question box. I wanted to go quickly to Frank Komakoma, who's the Drug Logistics Officer for the Tanzania NTD Secretariat. Frank, I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
I know you've been using the NTDeliver program, so I wonder if you could maybe speak to your experience about what you found helpful about NTDeliver and what can be improved about it.
Okay, fine. So as I said before, I can track the actual shipping date, and the actual arrival date, but not the expected date. But the tool is fine in the sense that it helps even without moving or calling somewhere or writing emails to understand your status. But my status, that is very important, is the expected date of arrival. So that I am missing. Unless it is there, then I cannot access.
So Frank, that's really good feedback. And actually, we do have a recent update to provide. As of Tuesday, we have started allowing donors, WHO, and logistics service providers to enter 2 new dates, the estimated arrival date and the estimated delivery date. Since these fields just became available yesterday, we're currently not showing them in the country pages because we have not received much data yet. So our plan is to just give data entering users of NTDeliver a little bit of time to start entering that data for current purchase orders. And soon that data will be available to you in the country page.
That's fine. And then I think on the other note, for example, for us, we use a symbol ZITH, DIP, for Zithromax. And then I can see you use AZM. I don't know how many countries are using AZM against ZITH. So I suggest we can have the uniformity of that because this is the global tool. We will try to see which fits better. Or we can put both AZM stroke ZIT for Zithromax. And my last comment is, in order to maybe you get used to this, alerts that can come often on this tool are very important, so that you can be reminded to open the website.
Yeah, that's great feedback. So in the presentation, we also mentioned the ability to subscribe. So that's one way that you can be reminded of updates to your shipments without actually going to the website, because we do understand that it can become kind of cumbersome to remember to go here often. So if you do subscribe to countries that you're interested in, you'll receive an email every Monday if a purchase order to that country has been updated in the last 7 days.
I think that's fine.
Thanks, Emily. Just to clarify, Emily, that's for any drug going to the country. You're not subscribing to the drug, you're subscribing to the country.
Yes,
right?
Correct. But there is a clarification I'll make. So you're subscribing to the country as a whole, and you will receive notifications for every single drug except for Zithromax. And the reason for that is because Get 2020's Zithromax Tracker, ITI's tool, actually has their own subscription functionality. And so if you're subscribed through their tool, you'll already be receiving those notifications. So we didn't want to duplicate those.
Okay, great. Thank you for the clarification. So we've got a couple of questions here. First, let's see. Somebody asked if, Rachel Bick asked if we could share Emily's email address, and I'll read it out now and then I'll repeat it at the end. So it's Emily, EMILY, @standardco.de. That is written in the presentation, which you'll get a recording of and the full presentation in about a week or so after this webinar. We have from Andrew Majewski is, will the tool be overlapped with the ESPN NTD map? I'm assuming you mean the NTD portal, but maybe we can clarify that too. Says this could help reconcile actual country need, lower pressure on pharma to deliver meds that would not be needed, and increase overall efficiency for all involved. Emily, do you want to go ahead and answer that?
Yes. Hey, Andrew, good question. So right now we are actively working with ESPN to develop the new ESPN portal. And I'll say right now that we don't have any solid answers that we can share, but I do know that there have definitely been talks of integrating the ESPN portal with NTDeliver in some form or fashion. So word will come out when decisions are made there, but it is in discussion. So sorry, I can't give you an exact answer. But that feedback in your question is great, and I'll pass it along to those that need it.
Great, thank you, Emily. We do have a large audience of participants, over 40 people on the webinar. Thank you, everybody, for participating. I'm hoping, and I believe there are folks from the Ministries of Health. I would definitely want to encourage you to ask questions, maybe not on the specifics of the tool, but maybe how it could be used. So please do ask anything that you're thinking about. So I'm going to go to another question here. Someone from Carter Center says, I'm able to open other countries, but not Nigeria. Is this just a glitch on my side, or are you experiencing the same thing? Emily, do you want to try opening Nigeria and make sure it works for you?
Yeah, sure. Let's see. I will not be super surprised if it is a glitch. Sometimes that does happen. Let's find out together. And if it is system-wide, we can get it fixed very quickly. Right, Nigeria. Yep, it looks like it's a system-wide problem. So I'll take a note of this and I'll have our developers fix this up quickly. Thank you for pointing that out.
Great, thank you. We have a question from Mike French at RTI. And I think, Frank, you kind of addressed this, but maybe we can get into more specifics. Does NTDeliver also track information for Zithromax deliveries? And is this synchronized with the Zithromax tracker?
Yeah, good question, Mike. So NTDeliver does integrate with the Get 2020 Zithromax tracker. So we do receive data directly from ITI, which we then populate in NTDeliver. So it does track it, and you can also search for an ITI or a Zithromax purchase order in each country page. The view of it does look a little different because the data that ITI collects for Zithromax shipments are a little bit different. So it would just look different, but yes, we do also have that information in the system.
Great, thank you. Here's a really interesting question. So this is from Pamela Bongkyung. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing your surname. It says, can this platform be shared more widely, like say to the countries, so that they can understand how the supply chain affects their drugs? And then there's a part 2 of that. Or is there a need for discretion on how this is used? For example, if a journalist wanted to write an article on improvements in the NTD supply chain?
Yeah, Pamela, that's a really great question. So back agreement made between WHO, the donors, and the logistics service providers to make this information public. So this is why we don't require a login, and anybody can access this. So no, I wouldn't say that there's a need for discretion at all. And if there is anything you want to share, you can simply just copy the URL of each page and give it to a colleague or post it or whatever it is that will be helpful for you.
Great, thank you, Emily.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask if, especially folks on the phone who have used this tool before, we'd love to hear from you about how it's going for you and what you think is going well, what can be improved. But I'm curious to know from folks who have used it, are there any features that you'd like to see on it that Standard Co can explore adding? Frank gave a couple of suggestions about things just to streamline more, like using the right acronyms for Zithromax, for example, and then also the estimated arrival and delivery dates, just to make using the tool a little bit more user-friendly. But I'm wondering if there are other features that we haven't considered, or things that are there currently, but that maybe seem a little bit difficult to understand, that Standard Co could explore adding or fixing to the tool. So please do put any in right now. And let me go back to questions. Another one from Mike French. Thank you, Mike. Are there any plans to include Mectizan, and why isn't that drug included?
Mike, good question. So the goal would, of course, be for us to include all NTD-related drugs or medicines. At this time, we don't have Mectizan. We do have to work with the individual donors of each drug to get approval and to have access to their data, which is why that is not included in the list yet. But it is definitely a desire of our team to have all NTD-related drugs in this tool one day.
Excellent. Emily, no one's asked it yet, but I'm curious to know, because I'm sure we'll get asked eventually, is about usability in other languages, particularly French and Portuguese. Are there plans to translate the tool or have it be available in other languages?
Good question. So right now that is not in the roadmap, but we have received that feedback from several people. So I actually have a note for myself to make sure that that's discussed at the upcoming supply chain forum, which is in September, and see if we can get some time allocated to building this tool out in other languages, or at a minimum, the country summary pages for sure.
Excellent. Okay. So question about, it says the tool is very timely. Thank you, Ernest Mensa, for mentioning that. I see its utility, current and future application. How far back in years is included in the tool?
So Ernest, the tool was launched on September 1st of 2016, and that is when we really began tracking the data related to each purchase order. We do, in some cases, have purchase orders older than 2016, but as you can imagine, it's sometimes difficult to get data for a purchase order the older that it is. So long story short, purchase orders from September 1st, 2016 were tracked through this tool from start to finish, and anything before that had to be manually entered as data was found.
Okay, so what you're saying is that if older records are recovered that were maybe in paper-based system, they could potentially be added as an archive?
Yes, and many times they were added, but the data itself is just not quite as complete as the newer purchase orders.
Okay, excellent. All right, so question from Suleiman Matua says, upon arrival of the shipment at the port of delivery, is it possible to extend the process to in-country updates, knowing that the shipment could go through customs clearing process for weeks or months? And he's speaking about experience in Nigeria.
Yes, that's a good question. And perhaps this leads to a good piece of feedback as well. So we do track two dates. One is the arrival date and one is the delivery date. The arrival date is considered the date when it arrives at the port, so before it goes through customs. And then the delivery date is the date when it arrives at the warehouse, so after it's gone through customs. So the tool is aware of how long a shipment sits in customs, and we have heard from many people that, you know, it can sometimes become a problem because of fees that need to be paid and whatnot. So that data is available to us, and it's actually in our roadmap in the next year or so to do something more productive with that data, like flag purchase orders if, say, it's been sitting in customs for too long and you're about to incur some large fees. So yes, it doesn't necessarily do it now, but we do have the data to make that happen, and we will be making that happen soon. And then perhaps, based on this question, perhaps we should be clarifying the difference between an arrival date and a delivery date, because those are often confused. And so we can potentially add some notes that say arrival date is when it comes to the port and delivery date is when it goes to the warehouse.
Excellent, thank you. Oh, okay, it looks like we got a response to features people would like to see. The ability to save the show and hide settings. How usable or customizable is the tool for individual users, I guess is the question for you, Emily.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So right now we do have the ability here to show hide columns. You can check and uncheck these, and then these columns will appear or disappear based on what you've set. The only issue that we have technically is that because we do not require a login, there's really no way for us to save these settings for someone who's not logged into the system, because technically we just don't know how to associate that with your user because you do not have a user. However, if you are also someone who has a login, meaning you're either part of the team that donates or ships or part of a WHO team, you may have a login. If you do have a login, this feature is coming soon, where when you do check or uncheck, it will be saved according to your user.
Excellent, thank you. Oh, we got a question from Seydou Goita in Mali asking to see the demands for Mali for 2019 for ivermectin and praziquantel, if possible. So I wonder if you can speak, Emily, to the question about current applications that may have just been submitted in the last month or so to WHO, and how soon we can expect that request to then be put into NTDeliver.
Yeah, it's a great question. So when the WHO receives applications, we do import those applications into NTDeliver within 24 hours. So the system itself does have the data. However, it's not yet available on the country pages. And I'm not sure that it will be, unfortunately. Of course, we'd love to be able to share as much data as we possibly can. But individual countries should have the ability to, of course, be contacting WHO to see what they've decided the demands are for certain years and certain drugs.
Okay, thank you. So I just want to reiterate the question too, because it's hard to believe that the tool is absolutely perfect, though it is great. So I'd just like to reiterate the question to folks on the webinar. If there are features you'd like to see that Standard Code should be exploring adding, and I'd also like to ask too, for folks who have used it before or maybe using it for the first time right now, what are your biggest challenges with using the tool in the field? Couple of things I might think of is internet access. Do you find that slow internet connection makes it difficult to use? Are there any other challenges? We may not be able to address them, but at least there are things we can consider and that Standard Code can consider in terms of being able to use the tool offline. Maybe Emily, can you speak to that at all now? What features of it can be used offline, if any?
Good question. So right now, I do not believe any of them can be used offline. I haven't tried it myself, but perhaps if you already have the page open and then you go offline, it will remain open, but then anytime you clicked on a link, that would not work at this time. That's an interesting thing to explore, though. I'm not sure how that's possible from a technical perspective, but I can certainly look into it.
Great, yeah, thank you. I know that's been a challenge with a number of other tools about whether there are things you can quickly pull down, make changes offline, and then re-upload it. But in our case, because we're not making data inputs, we're just viewing. That would be something good for exploration, so that ministries can get the maximum use out of it. Excuse me. So a question from Katie Zerhoff from RTI. It says, in addition to the great value of making this information available to countries and their supporting partners for tracking the status of drugs, how are these data being analyzed to measure performance with respect to the supply chain? That's a good question. For example, calculating the percent of countries where drugs were shipped within X amount of time from when the purchase order was raised.
That's a really good question, Katie. Thank you. So this is not something that is available to the public at this time, but all the data that you do see in the country pages is, of course, also available to WHO, donors, and logistics service providers, and they can also see a little bit more than we can see here on this page. I'm not able to show it to you now because it does require a login, but there are multiple reports available in this system, and we do have KPIs, or key performance indicators, where we're kind of running some calculations on this data so that we can find out, oh, how long does it take on average from the time a purchase order is raised to the time it's delivered to get to certain countries. Exactly what you mentioned. And then also later this year, we do plan to kind of expand those calculations to be country specific and even donor specific, because each donor has a slightly different process, and each country, we know, also has a different process from the time they receive the drugs to the time it goes through customs and the time it arrives at the central warehouse. So a lot is being tracked right now, and a lot is being analyzed right now. The tool does kind of give that ability, and it's only going to get better in the coming year. We're going to be adding to that.
That's great to know. I wonder, I don't know if anyone from WHO is on this webinar. I hope so. It would be great to know, what they are monitoring, because it does sometimes seem like there are months-long gaps between certain stages in the purchase order process, and then other segments are very, very quick, like within days. So it is kind of curious to know, for those of us who aren't directly working in the shipment of the drugs, and maybe if anyone from pharma is on, maybe you can speak to that too, what you see, and if this tool helps you with moving things along more quickly. I know all the pharma companies and DHL, and they have their own tracking systems, which may be much more sophisticated. But I'd be curious to know if the information you have is reflected here. Are there gaps in terms of information that's being reported, or do you see areas where times can be potentially shortened between stages? It seems like there are a lot of stages, and those of us who aren't working directly in it maybe don't understand what all the stages are. And I don't expect anyone to necessarily have an answer to that, but it would be an interesting question if somebody does have direct information about that. So let me ask, there's another question here from Sarah Laskowski. Says, is there a potential for export of data into Excel, for example, which could then be referenced offline?
Yeah, good question, Sarah. So right now, that feature does not exist. However, there is definitely potential for it, and it would not even be that difficult from a technical perspective. So to know that that's needed is really helpful, and I can speak to the development team and see if that can be something that's added. I do want to point out that this table right here that contains all the purchase orders, it may not be just as good as exporting, but you can actually copy and paste this, and it drops right into Excel and retains its format. So perhaps in the meantime, you could be doing that, and then our team can work internally to see if it's a feature that we can develop.
Terrific. Okay. I think, whoops, right now. Oh, sorry, I'm getting a note here. If you have any more questions, please feel free to email us at any time. Emily's email, I think, just got put into the chat box, and it'll be sent out after the presentation along with a recording of the event and the slides for everyone else. So I'd just like to thank Frank and Emily for sharing their experience. And to thank all of you for participating, and also encourage you to share this tool with your colleagues, ministry counterparts, other partners. As I mentioned, next week or so, Kaylee will send out the presentations and the recording to all the participants. And just to reiterate for everybody that Emily and Standard Co. are constantly working on ways to improve this tool to meet everyone's needs and make it more user-friendly. So if you do have questions even after this webinar, please, or comments or suggestions on how to improve the tool, anything of that nature, please do contact Emily. So I'll read her email address again. It's Emily, E-M-I-L-Y, at standardco, it's STANDARDCO.com. NTDE. So you can email her directly with any suggestions about the tool. And, oh, there's one last question. Is there a contact list for asking information about the purchase orders? So we'll ask that one last thing and then we'll close it up.
Cool. Yeah, good question, Cassandra. So we do have that information, and we're originally asked not to include it on this country page, but it does seem a little silly that it's not included, doesn't it? So I'm going to go ask a few people if we do have permission to include that. And if we do, it's something simple we can add. It will go underneath the map. We'll have a button that says contact info and shipping info. And so you'll know who you should be contacting about different things related to the purchase order for that country.
Perfect, thank you. Oh, and one last thing I wanted to mention, and sorry for the technical glitch at the beginning of the slide presentation. I wanted to just let everybody know about the NTD toolbox. That slide was right on there, and then it cut off. So if you go back to the video presentation when you get the recording and just pause it, you'll be able to see a screenshot of the toolbox. But this is a great toolbox for preventive chemotherapy diseases, which includes the most used NTD guidance, tools, and resources developed by WHO, the ENVISION project, and other organizations working in NTDs. You can find everything from job aids to WHO guidance to training materials and videos in the toolbox. And you can access it on the ENVISION website, and you can search by disease or by NTD program phase or for whatever you're looking for. And thank you for putting that screenshot back up on the screen. So if there aren't any more questions, we'll go ahead and close. Thank you all again for participating and for the great questions. Thank you, Emily, for fielding all those questions. And we look forward to hearing any feedback and comments on this webinar and how the tool can be improved. Thank you again and have a great afternoon.
Good.